Can I open the rack and continue shooting from both of these positions? Keep watching to find out. Welcome to this week's Rack of the Week. This week we've got an example of a rack that's a clustered rack with a low percentage break shot on each end. This is my opening shot after an opponent missed during a match. So I'm trying to go back and forth and come back to where I've got an angle like this. Obviously I hit it way too soft, you might assume. But if you watch that again, watch the ball go in. The ball definitely hits this point going into the pocket. So I may not have hit it too soft. Had I hit it cleanly into the center of the pocket, the cue ball would have traveled farther. So this is why it's important to be very accurate with your shot making, especially with straight pool. So this is a low percentage break shot. I've got to shoot this in with high left and just a ton of left English. The cue ball kind of curves a little bit, less than that, and then the left English brings it back in. And I'm fortunate that... let me pause this real quick. I'm fortunate in this case that the cue ball hit the top side of the 14, and that gave the tangent line this direction for the cue ball. Sometimes it'll pop up even farther and you'll have a better shot. But often that cue ball will come in and hit the bottom of the top ball on the rack, and then the cue ball just gets stuck right on the side of the rack and you have absolutely nothing. So a little bit fortunate to have something to shoot at here. It's a very difficult shot. I've got to shoot this 10-3 combination. This is a diamond with 4.5-inch pockets, so you got to be somewhat accurate. So I'm taking real careful aim. This is a very missable shot. Fortunately, I don't have to do anything with the cue ball. The cue ball is going to end up like right here, and I'll either have a shot on the 12 or the 10 ball should go to the rail and come back. So I have a choice here on what I want to shoot. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's a very clustered rack. In other words, the break shot, there was no way with this break shot to open the rack. I'm fortunate to have these 5 balls that are open. So now I have a choice. I can cut the 12 ball into the corner. The cue ball most likely is going to hit this 4, but it doesn't have to depending on how I cue it. And my cue ball's really going into no man's land. The best thing I could probably hope for is to draw it into the 6 softly and have a shot on the 6 back this way. I don't like that, and it's too passive. You're really not accomplishing much. Because the rack is highly clustered and packed tight together, if you want any chance, you got to go for it. But you can go for it in a reasonable way. So there's 2 shots that I see shooting this 10. One would be to cut the 10 in and simply bring the cue ball this way. Here's the parallel line to this stripe. So you want this angle, so that you can send the cue ball into the pack forcefully. And with that shot, I'm not sure if you can really count on the 12 being a key ball. You're going to hit that pretty hard and try to open that rack. The other shot is to shoot the 12 into the corner and use high right English this time and try and get the cue ball to go straight back into these. I prefer that. I'm not sure why. I think it's personal choice. But that's the shot I choose. I feel like I'm going to hit this 7 ball, possibly the 4, and I will have the 12 as an insurance ball or the 4 or something like that. But this is hit it hard and hope, okay? And as you just can see, they didn't open very well, did they? So now I've got a really tight cluster, and I think what we'll do is this is a small area on the end of the screen. Let me zoom in so we can get a better look at this. That's better. Now we can see a little bit. I have it's kind of an optical illusion. It's hard to tell on the screen, but this is actually pretty sharp angle to cut this 1 ball. The cue ball's really close to it. Those are always hard to judge. I like the shot in that. The cue ball's just going to go this way, hit the 2 ball, probably the 5, and I'll have a shot on the 4 or the 6 next. So on another day of the week, I might choose that a shot if I'm feeling a little bit more sporty. It was raining outside today during this game, and it was kind of a little bit humid. The balls were a little bit sticky. I was really having trouble controlling the cue ball today, so I chose not to shoot that. Instead, I'm just going to shoot the 4. I'm almost straight on the 4, and I just want to move the cue ball like an inch. And then from 6 inches away, I've got a much better view of the 1 ball to be able to do the same shot. and then I'll either have the 6 or the 12 next. So that's my plan. That's the reason why I'm coming around to take a look at the angle on the 1, and it's like, nah, I don't want to shoot that today. I'm going to shoot the 4. A little bit more controllable. I'm being a little more patient. This is a unmissable shot, and the 1 ball is not. So as it turns out, the cue ball went farther than I wanted. Now I have a very shallow angle on the 1 ball. Okay. Just got to accept what you have. So all I can do now is I'm gonna be stunning forward into the 5. The 5's going to go this way, and the cue ball is going to hit the 2 and stop. And that's all I'm trying to accomplish. I didn't expect these balls to come open. But this is a good result because this shot on the 6 ball is classic straight pool. This is a bread and butter shot. So I've got a nice angle on the 6. That means the cue ball is going to have some speed naturally. And I want to just go off the bottom rail up into this cluster and open them up. But I want to do it in a smart way. You don't want to just slam into this and hope. If you hit it with a lot of speed, you might be sending this 9 ball way up table. You don't want to do that. You want to keep the balls on this half of the table. So what you want to make sure you don't do is run into the 2 ball, because you can end up sending the 2 ball to the rail and the cue ball gets stuck right here and you just have nothing. I want this 12 to be my insurance ball, so I feel like if the cue ball comes into the 9, then it's going to hit the 7, and there's my 12 for an insurance ball. So I don't need to hit this hard. This is a controlled shot, but I think I'm likely to open all these balls, at least get them to where they're all not touching. So when you shoot this shot, I think you need a little bit of left English, and that's because the high on the cue ball, if you notice, the cue ball curved off the rail. That's always going to happen when you're aiming at the top of the cue ball. In other words, the cue ball went to the rail, and then it came off in this direction and then curved forward. If you replay that, you'll see that little bit of curve, and I think you need a little bit of left English to help that. So let's go back to the full view and take a look at what we got. Here's a shot again from the full view. Just like I was hoping for, cue ball hit the 7 and stopped right there for the 12. Now I'm taking a look at the table, a little bit of rack analysis. I wouldn't call the rack solved, but all the balls are wide open and I'm feeling much better. Now let's take a look how many balls. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 balls. So it took the break ball and 5 more shots to get to this point. When you're playing straight pool, you can't lose hope. It can look impossible, but don't feel that way. It doesn't take much, as you see, to get the balls open. And now I'm just in an ideal position. So I really love this. We have this pair of balls. Either one can be a break ball, and either one can be a key ball for the other. This ball could possibly be a key ball, or even a break ball in a pinch if I mess things up and need it. This ball can be a key ball. So you're identifying the balls that I don't want to shoot. Obviously, I'm going to shoot the 12 ball to start with, and I just have one problem on the table, and that problem is foremost in my mind, and that's the 2-5, because the 2 doesn't pass. So the 5 is a blocker ball. Obviously, I need to get the cue ball somewhere in this triangle so I can shoot the 5. But I'm taking a look at it and deciding I really want the cue ball on this side. I want it close to the rail, because I'm going to want the cue ball to go 2 rails over here and do something in order to get the cue ball free. At least that's what I think right now. So how do I get the cue ball there? I have a very slight angle on the 12, and in my earlier days, I might have tried to pound the cue ball to the rail and back over here. That's a 9-ball mentality. You've got to be a little more strategic when you're playing straight pool. So I'm kind of playing percentages here. I can force follow forward, and I think that I'm going to get my cue ball to go around the 11. We'll see in a second that I don't. But even if I try this and come here and hit the 11, I've got the 9. And if I miss the 11 completely, I'm going to have a shot on one of these balls. Both of these balls go in this pocket. So it's a little bit of I think I know exactly where the cue ball's going, but there's a contingency in case if it doesn't go where I think it's going. So that's why it took me so long to decide this is a simple shot. It's the cue ball that's not simple. That's what straight pool's about, is where's that cue ball going? So I got pretty fortunate. My cue ball went right through the cap. Didn't expect that, and I'm not too proud to admit it. But as you can see, I'm taking a look at the angles, because what I'm looking at now is what angle do I need on this 14 ball, because I want to use the 14 to get my cue ball over here. Notice that once this cluster was open, every single shot is about getting on this 5. That's how you play straight pool. You've got to address your problem balls immediately. So I've checked that angle. I'm going to use the 15 because I'm nearly straight, and I can control the cue ball real well to get just the perfect angle on that 14. Hopefully, let's see how it turns out. That'll do. Now, I got bonus position, so I've got a good angle, a slight angle on the 14. I don't like this 11 ball as a key ball for the 7 ball break shot. Now, it can work. Absolutely, it can work. You can get straight in and draw back. You can get an angle where you bounce the cue ball off the rail to come here for your break shot. It's very workable, but what you're doing is you're counting on shooting all these other balls and then getting the cue ball to come back around and get the right angle. I've learned through a lot of experience that fails a lot of the time. Now, if I had a ball into the side pocket here, then I could use these balls to get the cue ball on that ball on the side as a stop shot and get the proper angle on this ball for a key ball. That's okay. That's very workable. But when you've got this ball between the break ball and the side rail, kind of across from the break ball, it's actually I found it to be pretty low percentage. So I'm going to use one of these balls most likely in the center of the table. But I could even use the 2 ball as a key ball for the 7. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because if I shoot all these other balls and land the cue ball anywhere in this triangle for the 2, it's really natural to just go right around the 7 and get on your break shot. That's high percentage. That's much higher percentage than trying to land on the correct angle on the 11 and getting the cue ball back out here. So anyway, so those are the things that are on my mind. Now I have the perfect angle on the 14, and you saw me put my Q-tip on the table. I want to get just right on this 5 ball so I can bring the cue ball around. And then both the 13 and 14 both go in this pocket. Well, the 14's gone now, but the 13 goes there. So now I'm looking at this, and let's see if I can get out of the way. Move, Bob. I'm about ready to shoot, and I'll tell you what was on my mind, what I was thinking about. Yeah, see, I decided twice what to do there. Here's what I was looking at. I don't have a sharp angle. The cue ball's not over here. It's here. So if the cue ball was here, that's natural. You just go 2 rails around here. You want to get into this zone. The reason why, got a shot on both of these balls. Okay? Now, my cue ball landed a little flatter, and so I considered going straight to the bottom rail with inside English and coming up here, because from this zone, I have a shot on all 3 balls, and I can definitely come up with an end pattern. Now, if the 2 ball wasn't there, I might have done that. But with the 2 ball there, and you're shooting more flat, there's a chance I can nick this 4 ball and things can go really bad. So I decide no, the 2 balls, plus with using inside English, I've got to overcut the 5, and then maybe I nick the 2 ball on the way in. So I want to play the highest percentage route. So I decide to make up for my lack of angle with just a whole bunch of outside English. Look at that spin take. But that's the safe route. Notice I didn't have to hit it hard. I'm using the spin on the cue ball is providing all my speed, and I can get just perfect. Now, from this point, this is a routine end pattern, and you should be very familiar with this. This is the best key ball. Now, as I mentioned, the 2 ball could work very well as well, but I don't have the pattern to get my cue ball here for the 2 ball. But this is absolutely routine, because here's the shot line to the 13. Here's the parallel angle from the 13. So if I get my cue ball in this zone, then the cue ball from the 13 just goes to the side rail and out. Very high percentage, very standard. I'd call this another bread and butter type of key ball. You're very often not going to get a stop shot into the side pocket. You're going to have to use a shot like this. Now, barring that, of course, I've mentioned this earlier, if you get this angle, you can also go straight up and down, or if you're even straighter, you could force follow 2 rails in. So this is a very good key ball. Center of the table, at or below the break ball, but very routine. Now you notice I didn't get straight in on the 2, and this is something I've been working a lot lately. I think amateurs try to get straight in, and I'm really trying to break myself of that habit. It's very much more controllable if you can go to the rail and out. And so I thought I did real good, and then I got too straight on the 13. So now I'm almost straight, so I'm marking where I want to get, but I've really got to pound this. I got too straight, but I'm trying to just stun the cue ball up here. I was afraid of hitting it too hard, and I'm almost straight in on the 7. So I did terrible, and I'm really upset because I had an ideal end pattern to get perfect on that 7 ball, and I messed it up. You saw me slap my hand on the table and slap my cue down. Don't do that. Anger doesn't help. Anger only helps your opponent. It doesn't help your attitude. I'm working on that also. So now I've got a I'm nearly dead straight. I've got to cheat the pocket. I've got to shoot the 7 ball over to the left side, and I'm going to use extreme left English on the cue ball so I can get the cue ball into here. This is a break shot that I show on the video along with my book. This is a recovery break shot. You're hoping to get a shot afterwards, but if you don't, you're going to have a safety. The primary point with this break shot is don't miss the object ball. Don't hit it into the point, and then it goes 2 rails, smashes the rack open for your opponent. If you miss the rack completely, that's fine. Don't miss this break ball. And so the goal here is to hit this corner ball. It's the 8 ball in this case, because the 8 ball is going to carry them off the one next to it and go this direction, and the cue ball is going to go this direction. Some percentage of the time, you're going to go right in the drink. You're going to scratch. But what happens very often is the cue ball travels farther than the 8, and the cue ball goes down to the rail, and the 8 ball gets halfway there. And then you have an ideal re-break shot to shoot the 8 in this corner and just force follow right into the rack. That's not quite what happens in this time, but it's pretty favorable what happens. So take a look. Notice I'm at the center of the cue ball. This is stun forward with a lot of left English. Just try to get that 8 ball loose, which I did. And I'm going to show, normally I only show the break shot into the next rack, but I'm going to show the next couple of shots because it's cool. I got pretty lucky, and this is fun. So there's no way to shoot the 8 and open up this rack at all. But you see me looking at the angle of the 1 in the corner. So I've got to put a lot of high, and since I'm shooting off the rail, I can't put a lot of inside to really get my cue ball over. What I would love to do if I could would be to get the cue ball over here, because then I could shoot the 1 in the corner and try and open the rack. I don't get that. Because I can't put inside English, I can't get the cue ball over there. Now I can shoot the 1 ball on the side, but it achieves nothing. There's a very easy safety. Obviously, you just shoot the 1 ball past the side pocket or to the side pocket and up here and stick the cue ball right in the back of the rack. It's an easy safety for your opponent to reply to, but you're not giving away the farm. And so that's an option, but you saw me just go and look because, fortunately, the 5 and 13 are frozen. There's a little gap between the 5 and the 3, but it looks to me like the combination to make the 3 ball in this pocket is on. And so that's what I set my sights on. So because of that, I'm going to shoot this 1 ball with some speed control and a lot of high English. I want to get the cue ball to the side rail and back to the center table, and I can shoot that combination. Made a good shot there. So now I'm going to take another look at this. And what's interesting about this shot is I've got 2 frozen balls. The 5 and 13 are frozen. And it looks to me like it's lined up so that the 3 ball is going to hit the inside of the pocket, like right here. And I'm like, oh, man. that can throw this, the angle of the 5 hitting the 3 can throw the 3 this way, and then it hits the point and I miss. And that can happen a lot. The interesting thing about these shots, if you're not aware, some people are of the impression that if you have 2 balls that are frozen together, if you hit this ball on the side, we know that the second ball gets thrown in this direction. But some people are of the opinion that this ball begins its travel straight through the center lines and then goes that way. And that's not true. When you throw a ball, the moment that the second object ball leaves the first, it's on that thrown direction. And so I can use that to my advantage because I want to hit the top side of the 13 to throw the 5 ball this way. That way I make sure I'm cutting the 3 ball enough to get into the center of the pocket. So once I've made that decision, I am going for it. I want to open the rack on this shot. So the cue ball is going to hit the top of the 13. It's going to go straight to the side rail, and I'm using straight high. I know the high English is going to make it curve a little and come back, and I'm hoping that I get a nice wide dispersal of these balls. These are fun shots, and I don't shoot them very often because these combos, especially on 4.5-inch pockets, they don't have to go. But I think this one's lined up really well. So I'm not babying that ball. I'm going to hit it. And they came open real well. So I'm in business.